interesting picture showing up for this. Where do you think the president comes down on this? Is it likely he runs again? If he does that clear the field on the Democratic side?
Well, I think after the midterm elections, the particularly strong midterm elections for the president and for Democrats, I think, it is looking a lot more likely that President Biden is going to be the top choice for Democrats. But, obviously, if Biden bows out, then there's a big question of who is going to be that person who is going to, lead the field. But I do really feel like because of the midterm elections, it does seem like, nobody is going to challenge him if he should decide to move forward with a presidential bid.
We'll stay with the Democratic side. Gavin Newsom, we've heard making waves, possibly thinking about a run with this, but he's vulnerable on his COVID policies, isn't he, from the lockdowns? And California has one of the highest gas prices in the nation.
Well, absolutely. And, Gavin Newsom has said that he doesn't think that he's going to run for president. But, as we know, politicians love to say that, and then they actually love to run for president. But we did see him really taking on some Republican governors like Ron DeSantis and some others. We also saw him placing some billboards in some states, talking about policies for abortion in California, trying to drive people to California. So it definitely does appear that Gavin Newsom does have some political aspirations for sure.
And we know that on the Republican side, former President Donald Trump is in the race. But that hasn't scared away some other folks. You're hearing names like Ron DeSantis, Asa Hutchinson, who I talked with earlier, possibly considering a run for this. Do you feel like this time around President Trump is going to get competition on the Republican side?
I think a lot of the signals that we are seeing is that, Republicans are very unhappy with what they've seen over the last couple of years. They lost the White House. They lost the Senate. They lost the House last time. They, are able to get the House this time. But, that is not with the help from President Trump. So I think we are seeing a lot of people now emerging. Obviously, the number one choice has got to be Governor Ron DeSantis. He's, his profile was really high. And that was even before the midterm elections. After the midterm elections, obviously that major victory, looking at somebody who was able to lead Miami-Dade, a Republican, that's huge. But also the fact that, he has a very friendly legislature, so he'll be able to use that in a way where he'll be able to get laws passed that will play really well during the midterms or rather, obviously the presidential election.
So President Donald Trump, a divisive figure within the party for some and outside of the party, obviously very divisive. Do you think that plays into the opening for Ron DeSantis to come through?
Absolutely. I think that, Ron DeSantis has really tried to stay away from the confrontation. Obviously, we've seen President Trump specifically targeting the Florida governor. And he has said, he's basically has said nothing. And I think that really signals to a lot of people that he is really deciding to get into this race. And yeah.
Would it be a two-person race, you think, on that side? Or do you think we're going to see Larry Hogan, former governor of Maryland, and Asa Hutchinson come in?
I think that a lot of people may be considering a run for president. There's been a lot of rumors about Nikki Haley. She has a very impressive resume. The former UN ambassador, South Carolina governor. She's teased some political aspirations. I also think Mike Pompeo has also talked a lot about, he's been somebody who does seem like he has a lot of presidential aspirations. He's been to Iowa. He has really, impressive credentials. But he also is somebody who isn't a great fundraiser. Right. So that's a challenge for him.
It should be interesting. Samantha, I appreciate it. Thank you for the debate. This is going to be ongoing for the next 2 years.